the bitch. If only they knew.
Only they knew.
Pussycat me.
Oh, no, how the fuck do you get home today?
Oh. I'll talk back. Climate change is making turbulence on planes worse. That's according to Paul Williams. He's a professor of atmospheric science.
You sure we're on air?
We are on.
Be nice if somebody spoke to us.
I think our batteries won't change.
Thank you very much indeed. There's Simon Calder.
Hello.
Simon, so turbulence, I do have to say, it's the big thing. I've been in an aircraft that's been hit by lightning.
Have you?
Yeah.
Good.
But it just was hit by lightning. Nothing really much to report. And Simon, you're never out of an aircraft, so you will know this all too well. But what have you got to say about turbulence? And is it seriously going to be on the increase? Because it makes a lot of people very nervous about flying.
Well, yes. OK, so exactly as you say, Professor Paul Williams, Professor of Atmospheric Science in the Department of Meteorology at the University of Reading, has done some research which says that if you double the amount of CO2, carbon dioxide, in the atmosphere, that increases by about 2.5 times the risk of severe turbulence. Now, we've all, I'm sorry to say, seen images of this. I hope very few of your viewers have experienced it, but it's the sort of thing where you're flying along perfectly normally and then suddenly you get hit by severe turbulence. There's crockery flying everywhere. The poor cabin crew are having terrible problems, and any passengers who aren't strapped in are getting thrown around. And those are the events which at the moment happening around twice a day somewhere in the world. Those could be happening 5 times a day, according to the research they've done, which is specifically looking at aircraft flying 36,000 feet above the North Atlantic, obviously the absolute key route between the UK and the US. So worrying stuff. However, I would not, as a passenger, think, oh, well, but by the end of next week, things are going to change. This is just, if we continue on the same trajectory, they say, in terms of burning CO2 or creating CO2, then we will be in trouble. And of course, the environmentalists say, well, look, really sorry, passengers, but it's entirely your fault. If you weren't flying around, you wouldn't be creating all this carbon dioxide and the problem wouldn't exist.
Right, technically on something there. So just to say that if you heard parts of conversation that you shouldn't have heard, we're very sorry for that. I just want to know, can airlines do anything to alleviate this? I mean, obviously they can't change the climate, but I often find, Simon, that there's never enough. When you hit a rough patch on air, I would like more talk from the cockpit to say, listen, don't worry, or this is going to last 7 minutes or 3 minutes and we're trying to avoid it. Do they reroute through turbulence, for instance?
Oh, yes. And look, first of all, if I can address the fear that an awful lot of anxious passengers have, quite understandably, can turbulence bring down a plane? I think it is unthinkable that a modern jet aircraft, particularly with all the systems that they have for detecting serious turbulence, would ever be downed by turbulence. And what they do, and I'm absolutely in agreement with you here. I've had 2 really bad bouts of turbulence, both actually over Southeast Europe. One a flight from Vienna to Cairo, the other one actually going from the UK to Singapore. Neither of these, I point out, was on British Airways, who I find are generally pretty good, as well as Virgin Atlantic and EasyJet and Jet2 and everybody else, at saying we're going to be experiencing some turbulence, so please watch out in terms of what you are make sure you're strapped in. And that is absolutely the fundamental point, because what we're talking about here is not suddenly flying into a thunderstorm. It's clear air turbulence where you just suddenly, for some reason, and ignore all those headlines about planes plunging thousands of feet in seconds. That doesn't happen. Yes, it gets very bumpy, very scary. But if you've got your seatbelt fastened, then you will be okay. And
There
if
we
you've
go.
got
Reassuring.
a pilot,
good to hear.
He or she he or she is saying, "Don't worry, you will be absolutely fine," then the more explanation you get, the better it is for fearful passengers.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
got to leave it there. Sorry to interrupt you. Simon Calder, thanks for explaining all of that. We appreciate it. We have to say goodbye to our viewers and listeners. That's it from us.
And we
We'll be
will
back
say
tomorrow.
to you, fasten your seatbelts because it's to the point and it's going to be a bumpy ride. Bev and Tom.
Good morning, good morning. We got a story on the show today.